line for line is really where you need to be. A platform that's really made for folks like you and me. You can find it all no matter what you seek. Whether you calling or you listening, tune in every week. Line for line. Oh yeah, I'm going line for line.
All right, just like that, we're back at another episode. Bears Report on Line for Line Podcast Network. We got Lester in the building. Lester, what's up?
What's up, man? How's it going?
Man, it is going good. How are you?
Doing good, doing good.
My guy, you know what we're here to discuss, man.
Yeah.
We have a lot to talk about in so little time. Go ahead and kick it off. What do you want to talk about first?
Just this the time had finally come. It was time for Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace. The regime had to go.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of stuff starting to come out now this week about how it was behind the scenes, but best case scenario for the franchise is they're gone.
Uh-huh.
But now we'll see what happens because George McCaskey's making the pick, him and his consultant and his group in. And, you know, we kind of saw how that's gone the last few times. So maybe they get it right this time. As Bears fans, that's all we hope we hope for. So
my number one question is, on a scale of 1 to 10, how off guard did it catch you that they actually did fire Pace?
Yeah, I was surprised Pace was gone. I knew Nagy was gone. I mean, that was a given. You know, like at the site, we always try and have pre-writes done. So that way when something happens, boom, publish it's out there. I wrote the pre-write Ryan Pace stays. So, I had an article ready to go because I thought he was staying. One of our other guys had the, Ryan Pace fired article ready to go. So as soon as it happened, we were ready one way or the other. I really thought he was in a stage because I thought he had distanced himself from Nagy a little bit in the last few months. I thought with his friendship with George McCaskey, they seem like they, all the reports are that they really get along. I was shocked it happened, but it's the best thing for the franchise. You got to go.
Okay, I hear you say it's the best thing, but why do you think the main reason why they let Pace go was? Because just me, I don't think his drafting was that bad.
No.
I don't think his drafting was that bad. I mean, he hit on a lot, but when it comes to like players getting hurt and stuff like that, that's really not on him, So what do you think?
Like to me with Ryan Pace is, like I talk about on my podcast, there's a lot he does good. There's a lot he does bad. And ultimately, you can't be average.
Yeah.
If you're going to be in that job, you got to win. You need results, and his results weren't very good. Like you said, his drafting, he had some home runs, obviously. Eddie Jackson, Tariq Cohen, some guys in the late rounds. Jordan Howard, Roquan Smith's a good pick. Justin Fields this year, hopefully is a good pick. But he had too many misses. Plus, he had too many guys where he would trade up when he probably didn't have to. And then, of course, the free agency, let the market come to you. Sometimes he gets a little anxious, and he says, I'm going to pay right now.
Yeah.
Danny Trevathan.
But there's a big market for Trevathan.
Too much money. Jimmy Graham, too much money.
Yeah.
And just let things come to him sometimes. Robert Quinn, who had a great year this year. He probably could have waited on that and got him for a little cheaper, too. He gets too anxious with the guys he wants. He takes the money and goes gets them and lets the cap figure that stuff out later. And right now, there's like 6 guys that have void years, which is basically they're out of contract, but there's still cash on the books because he pushed money into the future, and that's the next GM's problem.
Yeah, nice. So, but obviously we knew Matt Nagy was a given. How excited are you to see him gone?
Yeah, he just his stubbornness with what he wanted to do. It's his first year, 2018, was good. Everything went downhill from there. 2019, his stubbornness shined. The first game against the Packers when it was Bears lost 10-3. I think he dropped back Mitch Trubisky 53 times. It might have been that game. Ridiculous. Just his refusal to bend his offensive scheme around his talent. It just doomed him. He would not adjust, and that's we saw it in 2019, 2020. We saw it this last year. He just had to go.
Why do you think it was that he just wouldn't wise up and change?
I mean, all these guys to a point have an ego. I mean, it's football. I mean, it's a lot of alpha personalities, and I think that's part of it. I think part of it was he wanted to prove that what he wanted to do was going to be right, and ultimately, it wasn't, and that's why he's out of a job.
Yeah, man, that's so crazy. Even though he comes from the Andy Reid tree, it just doesn't always work that way, huh?
He was on the radio today in Kansas City doing a radio spot. And,
Matt Nagy was?
Yeah, so I'm assuming at some point next year that's probably where he'll end up at because, he started with Reid in Philadelphia, followed him through to Kansas City, so he'll go back there in some way, some role. He'll find his job in Kansas City because
what could you see him doing?
Maybe quarterback coach. If Eric Bieniemy leaves to get a job somewhere else, they may promote one of the other guys. Mike Kafka's there. They might promote him. They might bring Matt Nagy in. He's not going to come in. He maybe get the assistant head coach title. Who knows? It's a good old boys club. If these are your friends, you're going to bring them with you, and that's Nagy and Reed are friends.
Do you ever see Nagy being a head coach again?
I don't think so.
No.
Maybe in college, if that's where he wants to go, but I just don't see the fit. I mean, like I said, his stubbornness. I mean, he has to grow as a person,
But maybe it was just a team he was on.
It could have been, but ultimately it's up to the head coach. I mean, the best head coach in all throughout the NFL, they're flexible.
Yes, sir.
Nagy wasn't flexible.
Yeah.
Just get the hell out of here. You got to go.
Yeah. Now, we know that the running head on Twitter has been nothing's going to change as long as the McCaskies are owners. How much of that do you think is true?
Our guy, Bill Zimmerman, on his podcast this last week, incredible rant. Basically 20 minutes of screaming. He was just pissed off. It was after the press conference Monday. And what he says is, even a broken clock is right twice a day.
Yeah.
That's the hope with McCaskey. They've been screwing up so much. Maybe this is the time to get it right.
Yeah.
Again, like I said, as Bears fans, it's all we have. We have to hope they get it right. I don't know, man. It's McCaskey. He's bad.
Sell the team.
I mean, that's never gonna be on the table.
Are you on board?
I mean, it'd be great.
For real?
I mean, if they sold, but they're never going to sell. I mean, it's the family legacy. There's George. There's other McCaskies on the board of directors. Mm-hmm. They're never going to sell that team. And I mean, maybe when Virginia passes, I mean, she's 99. Mm-hmm. Maybe the Suns will have a change of heart. But I just can't see them ever selling. It's going to be you got to hope. Like I said, this is the year.
Yeah.
You got to hope that they get the GM pick right, and if that's right, everything should fall into place. And
yes, sir.
With Justin Fields, man, it's like, it's a good destination for a GM and a coach. You got to hope they get the right guys in place.
Especially getting the keys right off the rip as well, too. But what's up with the move? Like, how in depth are they on the move? Because last time I heard that it was blocked.
Arlington Heights. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think they're still talking about it. I mean, they're being very coy at the press conference. The media tried getting a lot of questions out of him, and they don't want to talk about it too much. And it got to the point where they asked if they talked about one of the guys asked, "Are you gonna build a strip mall on the site?" Because they would not talk about a stadium at all, but that's what it was zoned for. Mm-hmm. If they want to do it, they'll do it. But it's a long process, and I think that's why Ted Phillips, the team president, is going to stick around for a little while longer.
Oh, you think so?
He may spearhead that whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's the case, that's fine. Just keep your nose out of football business.
All right, so let's talk about this head coaching and GMs out there. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, they interviewed Flores today, and they interviewed Ireland today too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so where do you see that at?
I'm okay with Ireland. I mean, he's had a lot of success. Mm-hmm. I like Flores. I think Brian Flores, the last time we talked, he wasn't even a guy that we'd mentioned because he was still coaching the Dolphins. Mm-hmm. But, for whatever reason, they let him go. There's some stuff, of course, after they make a decision, stuff comes out. Oh, he didn't get along with this guy or that guy. But that's a lot of spin control. They want to make it look right.
Yeah.
They just didn't like him for whatever reason.
And that was weird because they started off, 1-7 or something? Yeah. And then he just changed it around, and weren't they like one game out of making the playoffs?
Yeah. I mean, he has a knack for being a hard ass kind of guy. Mm-hmm. And that kind of rubs some the wrong way, but he comes from the Bill Belichick coaching tree, and if you're around the Patriot way for that long, something rubs off on you. Mm-hmm. You know how to win football games. It doesn't always translate, because you're still your own guy. You got to do it. Mm-hmm. But man, if it is Brian Flores in Chicago, I'd be fine with that.
Now, what do you think that offense will look like with with Brian Flores?
Well, I mean, he that's one of the problems that came out is he couldn't find the right coordinator to run his offense. Mm-hmm. But it also came out that he wasn't a big fan of drafting Tua. He wanted Herbert.
Yeah.
Justin Fields, his skill set is, he's an athletic quarterback. He's mobile. He's got a big arm, so maybe he'll bring a guy in that can do it again. That's going to be the first question all these head coaches are asked is, what's your plan for our offense? Because, the defense wins championships. That's nice, but that's, you need an offense. Mm-hmm. Drop some points on him. What are you going to do on offense? And if he has a good plan for that, then maybe he gets the job.
Yeah. Now, who would you say out there that have been linked to the Bears will be the best fit to take over the keys with Justin Fields in the car.
I really do like Flores. I think Flores can make it work if he gets the right guy in place.
No way.
You know, I mean, I like. We talked about before Byron Leftwich, but I think he's destined to be in Jacksonville.
You think so?
Yeah, I think it makes sense. I mean, he played there. You know, he has a relationship with the ownership there still. So, you know, maybe he goes there, and you know, it just makes the most sense for him. You know, the Bears have interviewed Doug Peterson.
I don't like that one.
I mean, the thing is you know, with him, you know, he knows how to do it. You know, there is no question. Well, can he be the overseer? Can he be a guy that commands a room, because he's done it? So at least with him, you know, he's got it. You know, Jim Harbaugh's out there. You know, there's not really talked about much, but you know, that's still in the back of somebody's mind.
I think that's just a ploy just for him to get more money out.
Possible
At the college.
It's possible. But another thing is, if you're going to go after Jim Harbaugh, you don't interview him because that messes up. Because Harbaugh protects Michigan, he has to protect the program. So if he's interviewing for head coaching jobs, that hurts the recruiting. That opens up the transfer portal. Now guys want to get out of there. So if anything does happen with the Bears and Harbaugh, it'll be a last minute thing. It'll kind of be like a phone call. Hey, you know, we want you to be the head coach of the Bears. Let's talk about it. Yes or no. And then if you go from there, but there will be no interview process that leaks out, because that'll hurt Michigan.
Yeah. Big facts. Who else out there that you like? So we talked about Leftwich, Peterson. What about Bieniemy?
I like Bieniemy, but I don't think the Bears will go back to the Andy Reid tree. Just because it's
Matt Nagy ruined it.
Matt Nagy ruined it for now. You know, I think he'll be a good coach if given a chance somewhere. He's had that role longer than Nagy had that role, so he had more time to learn how to be a play caller, learn how to scheme things up.
Yeah,
you know, I think he may get a gig this time around, or he may even go to college. There's some talk that he may go to the University of Colorado.
Oh wow,
there was some talk about that, so we'll see what that happens there. I like Brian Dable with the Bills.
Yeah,
you know, I like
Frazier.
Not a fan of Frazier.
No?
I mean, I like him. I think he deserves a second shot somewhere. I just think with the 85 Bears connection, there's just too much baggage comes with that. I like Nathaniel Hackett from the Packers.
Yeah.
I think he's just a quirky dude. He's kind of, you know, I hear some of his press conferences, kind of funny. You know, his last one, he talked about, you know, a stepbrother doing a stepbrother's gig. You know,
wow.
It's just kind of a strange guy. But he's real smart football guy. I think he'd be a guy the Bears are going to talk to at some point. But there's like 10, 11 guys if they have interview requests out for. They'll talk to a whole bunch of guys and then make their decision.
How nervous were you when you saw that Flores interview down in Houston today?
I mean, that. If you connect the dots, that makes sense for him to go there. I mean, that's probably a place where he, you know, he knows the GM there. There's a relationship with some of the staff members there, so that makes sense for him to go there. And you know, it's at this point, it's so early in the process. You know, the Bears don't have the GM yet, so
it's safe to say that they're interviewing people, but they for sure don't know who they're going to have, right?
Yeah, I mean, you would hope the process is, you know, talk to a lot of guys as a head coach and a GM, narrow your GM search down to a few, make your GM decision, and then you go back and you revisit all the coaches. Okay, here's the guys who really liked. Who do you like? And then they go from there. And you know, because those guys have to have a good marriage. They have to have a good relationship. You know, you can't have they have to be in lockstep. That's the one thing we saw with Nagy and Pace is, you know, sometimes it seemed like Pace would do things with some players that didn't always fit what Nagy wanted to do on the field, or Nagy wouldn't do right things with them on the field. So you got to have those two guys working hand in hand at all times.
Now, who do you like the most for the GM position?
I like both the guys from the Browns. Kwesi, I can't remember his last name. He's more of an analytic guy. You know, he has that background. He played college basketball.
Oh, wow, nice.
The other guy from the Browns too, I think his name is Cook. He's more of a player personnel guy. I think they're both in the mix. Both guys from the Colts. I like Dodds and Morocco. I think Morocco's a former Bear.
They said that they're really heavy on Morocco right now.
I'd be fine with any of those guys. Ireland, again, I'd be okay with Ireland. I just think if you're gonna do something, you know, nice, clean, fresh start. You know, I think it'd be kind of cool though to get one of the Colts guys because they're working for Ballard, who probably should have had the job instead of Pace. So it's like the franchise went full circle. They went back and got one of Ballard's guys when they should have had Ballard in the first place.
And the Colts have had some pretty good drafts. They've hit a lot on some
Colts,
pretty good players.
The Browns, you know, they've had good drafts. You know, they also brought in Wolf from the Patriots. He used to be with the Packers, Elliott Wolf. I'd be fine with him too. There's a lot of different ways to go. The cool thing about the GM search is they're talking to scouting guys. They're talking to guys that have a player personnel background. They're talking to guys that have more of an analytic background. So they're casting a wide net, talking to a lot of different people. And I would not be surprised if they got 2 guys out of the process because they can hire a GM and also hire an assistant GM from these candidates too. The thing is if you're going to get a promotion, like right now, let's say that, like I know, for example, the guy from Morocco, he's not the number 2 in Indy. You know, Ed Dobbs the number 2, who's getting interviewed also.
Oh, wow.
So, you know, he may not want to make that move because it's not, you know, he may have a better path to become the GM in Indy. But if you offer Morocco the assistant GM job in Chicago, the Colts can't block that.
Oh, wow.
Because that's technically a promotion for Morocco because he's like number 3, number 4 on their structure. So I would not be surprised if the Bears come out with 2 new guys out of this whole process.
Gotcha. Now let's say that they do get Flores, they get Morocco, whatever the case may be. What do you think that looks like for Justin Fields? A Justin Fields led offense.
Yeah, I think they got to look at the film from this last year. They got to look at his stuff from Ohio State. You got to have more play action. You got to have more moving pockets. You know, he is going to eventually be a straight drop back passer. He'll eventually get there. But he thrived last year pushing the ball downfield off play action. His numbers on play action were like so much better than what they were when they were sitting in the pocket. You got to build up the pass protection. You know, the Bears were sacked. You know, this is the second most times they were sacked in franchise history. 58 times they were sacked this season. Yeah. There's an extra game added, but still they were among the league leaders anyway. You know, so you got to protect him. He has to get smarter with the ball, but you know, let him do his thing. And you know, he's just not a. You have to take advantage of what he has, and what he has is right now is great athleticism, a huge arm. Let him do those things that he wants to do, and we saw him play. He wants to go downfield. You know, he wants to push it downfield and make big plays. That's why he takes some of the sacks he does because he's trying to make a play. So set it up so he has that success.
Yeah, nice. Now, what's up with his receivers though? Because obviously, is it safe to say Robinson's gone?
I mean, there's only one receiver under contract, Mooney.
He's not a number 1. I love him. I love the kid. The kid has wheels. He's great. He's just not that number 1 receiver. No. Like they have to go out and get a big body. You know,
he may be number 1 for next year just because they have to. But I'm with you. I don't think he's going to be that guy. I mean, he may be it. You know, he's still only played 2 years. You know, but with that being said, you still need 3 receivers in the NFL. So if he's not your number 1, if he's your 2 or your 3, that's fine. You know, you need a modern offense has all 3 of them. You know, if he ends up maxing out as being the slot guy, I mean, look at a guy like Kupp. You know, he caught 120, 30 balls out of the slot. Yeah. You know,
he broke records.
Yeah, I mean, if that's where you fit, I mean, he's fast, real good, really shifty, a good route runner. He has to work on his hands a little bit. He had some drops this year, but you know that's coming along. You know, if he maxes out as your number 3, that's a good start.
So you is it for sure Robinson's gone?
He just seemed to check out this year.
Yeah, man. You saw that?
Yeah, it's like he should have done more with Justin Fields. You know, I mean, Darnell Mooney and Fields worked out together all the time. A-Rob wasn't amongst that.
I think they actually started working out this week together as well too.
Right off the bat. And A-Rob, he made no mistakes about it. He wanted out. You know, he talked about it. You know, his through the media. You know, it wasn't really him saying it, but it was out there.
But he wants to be paid though. I mean, I understand it. I feel it. But it's just so weird because, like I said, and I keep saying this, it just feels like they game plan him out of the offense though because he wasn't getting the ball, and then I don't know.
I think it's both. I think part of it is they wanted to see what they had in Mooney, and part of it was he just didn't give the same effort. Yeah, because you saw, some of those routes, and let's be honest, Matt Nagy's route combinations just hooks and curls, and it's stagnant stuff. So he just doesn't seem like he's giving that effort all the time, and it's time to go. Yeah, best thing for him. Good luck to him. I don't think he'll get the money he thought he would get. But
so do you go into the draft, free agency? What do you do?
I think you got to do both. You got to get a guy in the draft, whether it's early. You got to get a guy late in the draft. You got to just build it because, like we said, right now, the only guy under contract really is Mooney. They may bring Jakeem Grant back. You know, he kind of had a nice buzz there, but he's a special team guy, and he's a 4 or 5. You know, so. And I think you got to also sign a guy in free agency.
Yeah. Do you see Newsome coming back?
Oh, yeah. I forgot. They brought him up off the practice squad at the last game of the year, so technically he's on the contract as well.
Yeah.
So they have Daz and they have Mooney, but Daz is unproven. I mean, you can't count on him. You know, if you go into the season thinking, Daz will take a next step, that's the kind of crap that Ryan Pace would do. Oh, this young guy will take a step. Sam Mustipher can be our center of the future. We don't need to draft any centers. That's the kind of stuff Pace did. So you got to get another receiver, whether in the draft, you got to get a free. You need a vet in there to come in and, like you said, a big body.
Yeah, maybe they should go back and get Anthony Miller.
Is he even playing?
I don't think so.
I think when the Bears left, he went to where? He went to Houston, Pittsburgh, and then last I saw, he was on Pittsburgh's practice squad. So he may. I don't know.
I don't think he has a future in the league though. But what about David Montgomery? Are they letting him walk? What do you see? Me personally, he's coming back. I don't think.
I mean, he's got one more year in the contract, so we'll see what the new GM is. I mean, some GMs value running backs even less than the way the league does right now. So maybe he'll come in and he'll make him earn his deal. I mean, if it's me, I'm letting him play out his last year. And I'm going to offer him a nice contract that I think is fair. Yeah. But ultimately, I ain't paying big money to a running back.
No.
Unless you have special traits. And I like Montgomery. He's a hard runner. He's tough. He fits the Chicago, tough guy mold. But he's not a home run hitter.
Yeah.
He's not electric with the ball in his hands, out of the backfield. He's good. He's very good. He's tough. But he's not, he's not a guy I'm paying huge money to.
Do you see Cohen coming back next year?
I don't know.
That man didn't play a lick of football this year.
He tore his ACL week 3, right? Or was it week 2? I forget. Early in the season, last season, And the time frame usually is like a year, they say. They'll be back in a year. We saw other players around the league come back in a year. He never came back, and then it just kind of kept lingering. There was some rumors, some speculation that there was a setback in training. I know a lot of the beat guys would, they always watch him on the sideline. They said he was limping every now and again. So something might have happened where it was a setback. Maybe there was a second surgery, But man, if he's healthy, he is an electric playmaker that fits any offense because you can do stuff with him out of the backfield. He's a return guy. If he's healthy and if he's ready to go, now you can let you don't have to worry about Grant because with Cohen he's under contract anyway. So you roll with him. I mean, if
you think so, he'll be back then.
I mean, I can't see them cutting him just because of the way the money works out. I think you could do it, but financially it makes sense to keep him, see what you got in him.
Yeah.
But he's got to be healthy.
Now, what about the offensive line? What do you think they need to do the most to improve that?
I think center. It's got to be center.
You don't like Mustipher?
I like him. I think he could be a depth piece, but he's just not strong enough at the point of attack. He's kind of like Montgomery. He's a try-hard guy. He's just, he's an undrafted free agent. I mean, he has exceeded his expectations.
Yeah.
No one had thought he'd be in the league at this point. The Bears, had him in the practice squad for a couple years. He finally got a chance. They rolled with him, and I like him. Like I said, I like him. Whenever he talks, I think he has the leadership qualities you want out of a center. He's very smart. He knows the offense. He knows the pass pro, how to get things set. But he's just not powerful enough at the point of attack. And not all centers are. Some guys get by on technique and guile, but there's too many times he gets pushed back.
Yeah.
So.
Their whole offensive line is always in the backfield, which is horrible.
It's rough.
Peters, he's not coming back next year, right?
Nah, he'll be 39. He'll be 40 maybe even this coming up year. So, like I was saying on my show, I mean, if you bring him back as a backup, I'm fine with it. I mean, he came in, he saved the Bears season at left tackle. This man was fishing.
Yeah.
On the offseason. They literally called him when he was out fishing.
Yeah.
Hey, we need you. Come back and play. All right. And then he came in. So
he looked pretty decent.
I think Tevin Jenkins is definitely the fixture there at left tackle.
No way, for real?
Man, he just looked good at left tackle. I mean, a lot of people say, put him back on the right side. Well, all his work has been on left. Since he opted out of his the last month of college a couple years ago, he's done nothing but train on the left side. So switching him again, that's another setback. Let him stay at left tackle. I thought his feet looked good. His hand placement looked good at left tackle when he was playing.
Yeah.
Let him play. Larry Borum, I think
your guy. You were ranting and raving about him last
yeah,
night.
he looked pretty good. You know, he's he's got to get stronger at the point of attack, but he has the frame to do it. So
Yeah.
Another offseason working on his body.
Losing more weight.
You know, he'll come back, and if he can lock it down, now you got left tackle, you got right tackle. You know, you got Whitehair coming back.
James Daniel coming back. Hey,
he had a rough year.
Yeah,
he had a
he
rough
suffered.
year. You know,
Yeah.
James Daniels is a free agent. You know, they got to re-sign him if they want him back.
Yeah.
You know, maybe you re-sign him, let him compete at center. You know, you got to see again what the new coaching staff thinks they're going to have, but they got to have some new interior depth on that O-line.
The mud is true. I had to sleep on the floor and I had to cry in the dark when nobody was watching. Still kept a smile, kept it G. Anything that you needed, I told you I got it. I'm chasing this dream. You see me working for 10,000 hours, you still won't support it. I go through this shit on my own. I was buying you shit even when I knew